Hey man, big time players make big game, make big plays, baby. Wow. 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 OU wins in dramatic fashion on the road, down so many guys. 27-21 over Auburn. People, we got a bunch to talk about. So please, please, I know everybody wants to watch the big game that's going to be on here in a second or whatnot, Alabama and Georgia. I get that. But if you're an OU fan, let's huddle up. We got some stuff to talk about tonight. Yes, we will get to Latrell. Yes, we will get to some of the defensive play calling in the first half. But first off, we have to give it up. Job well done. There was two things that you wanted to do in this game, and those were really atop of my list for sure. You wanted to, one, you wanted to win. Two, you wanted to have no more injuries and get to the bye week. So you did those two things, right? Or excuse me, you did those three things. So you jumble all those up. That's all that matters, people. We got 2 weeks to prepare for Texas. That's giving BV 2 weeks to prepare for Sark. It's going to be a different game plan. There's going to be a lot of different stuff that's going to happen. And there's a lot of stuff that has to happen as well.
That ass.
But people, as we came on here, we played the Santana Moss. Big time players make big time plays. People, give it up for Kip Lewis. Give it up for RMT, for R. Mason Thomas, right? We got to get that more, in the first half or whatnot, early in the game. But at the same time, people, we buckled down. We got it done. We got the win. Is that Auburn team a really good team? Hell no. Was this a perfect game for us? Hell no. But in the end, we got the win, and we're headed to the bye week. Let's get a little bit healthier, and let's have time to prepare. That gives us 2 weeks. 2 weeks to prepare for Texas, people. Do not go into this game thinking Texas is going to kill us or whatever the case may be. Arch, what Arch was doing today, I don't care about Arch being in there. It's the same thing with Quinn Ewers. We're going to be fine. We'll talk about Texas another time. Jason, run us just at a high level. Talk about this win right now, and then we'll get to kind of what we didn't like and what we did like.
Well, I think no matter how it came about, you had to get this win. You had to find a way to go on the road in the SEC and get your first win, because until you do it, you haven't done it. So, I mean, I know that sounds really profound and everything, but you have to go and find a way to get it done. And listen, there was nothing special or perfect about this thing today. You had 2 big plays, basically, as far as the offense was concerned. You had the one at the end of the game where they finally decided to go deep with 8 guys in the damn box. Imagine that. It turns into a big play. And then you had the one at the start of the game where, listen, both times, Michael Hawkins, there's a reason why he's in the game. He never, and really, as much as they beat on him all day, because you got to give a lot of credit to the way that defense played on that side of the ball too, because they were hitting, they were bringing it, and they brought a lot of stuff. In the end, I mean, yeah, would you have liked to have been better? Yeah, you have to look at it from all sides of it though, and realize that this is still a very, very young group of guys on the offensive side, and I gotta say, I'm not positive that they're not kind of handicapped with the offensive coordinator that just isn't really getting it done, in my opinion. But in the end, this defense is elite. When it needs to stop, you go get a stop. You got RSJ. Kip Lewis played his ass off the whole day. And, he made plays all day. But when you got RSJ and R. Mason Thomas doing what they're doing there, I mean, they owned that damn defensive line, or that offensive line for Auburn in the whole fourth quarter. Peyton Thorne's going to be having bad dreams about those guys. That's all there is to it.
We got Chris Mason, who just came in, guys. Definitely go back and check out that pod on Wednesday on my channel and Jason's channel as well, where he broke down a whole bunch of recruiting news or whatnot. At a very high level right now, Chris Mason, We're not jumping into things right now. We're just trying to celebrate this win. What does this just basically talk about the win? What does this win mean for OU? We'll get into the play calling and all the rest of that stuff here in a second. But what does this mean Let me see. What does this win? I'm so hyped right now, y'all. What does this win mean for OU right now?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is Brent's biggest comeback road win as in his tenure as coach, right?
Yes.
I mean, both margin and overall significance and impact, right? I mean, I'll be honest, guys, 14-7 at half wasn't exactly a confident standing point. 21-10 in the third quarter, not overly confident again. To come back from that and win in a place that everyone said we couldn't win. The defense, gave up too many big passing plays, but, again, just in the fourth quarter, we apparently now have a defense. Our defense makes fourth quarter plays, and we haven't had that since 2015, maybe.
Yeah, since Zach Sanchez. That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Zach Sanchez.
Yeah.
Zach Sanchez making interceptions for us in Tennessee, and I guess Trey Brown. Other than Trey Brown against Texas,
mm-hmm.
During that brief period, whenever he would always make a big fourth down play against Texas, right? Sorry, fourth quarter play against Texas. Other than that, we haven't had a lot of clutch on defense, and you got to say that Kip Lewis INT and shutting down Auburn in the fourth quarter is pretty damn clutch.
Complimentary football, people. You saw that in spurts today. You didn't see it for the whole part, but complimentary football. Another thing, quick moment, real quick. Got to give a shout out. I think the comment here, James Strice. Shout out to James Strice for joining the show. Happy for Hester. Happy for Hester. JJ Hester had two big plays, and one that honestly got us back into the game. Also, if you're giving game balls out, got to give a game ball to the freshman who came out there, stayed poised, stayed with it, tried to be as consistent as he possibly can, and again gave up his body to make sure that we got that 2-point conversion, which was
for real though
key, right?
And his stat line it's not like Kyler Murray or anything that we're used to, but no fumbles, no interceptions.
Yep.
And that might just be the most important part of the stats, right? No fumbles, no interceptions, because for all the good that Thorne did today, he threw a pick six, right? I mean, and they were sort of driving. They were sort of driving on that, more or less. I mean, 63-yard return by Kip. So, it wasn't like they were in the red zone. It wasn't one of those dramatic ones, but still, is that our first defensive touchdown of the year?
I think so. I think it is. Hell, it is. You would think that we almost had a scoop and score last week, but that is our first
because the Canic thing's technically special teams, right?
Yeah.
Zach Schmidt off the bench due to an appendicitis for Keltner.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 for 2, right? I mean,
you can't be mad at it. It took an effort. It took an army today, and hopefully I'm not saying that in poor taste. It took an army today for sure. Everybody had to get out there.
And again, do we have like a top 5 punter in college football? It feels like it. Elzinga is punting his ass off.
No doubt, dude. That
special teams. And I don't want to jinx us. Special teams has been better this year.
Shout out, listen too, and shout out to Zach, man. If he be popping those through there when you needed him to, that guy couldn't find his ass with both hands last year.
Well, and to be benched, right? And then and then not to be brought off the bench because Keltner was bad, because Keltner got has I believe he has an appendicitis. I'm not sure if that's been announced anywhere, but I've heard that from enough sources.
BV said it in the post game.
Okay, all right.
In the post game. Hey, let me jump in here real quick. Corrections 101. He says, proud of our boys. A win like this will do wonders for the team. Yes, it will. It will.
I'll go just big picture for a brief second.
Go ahead.
You lose today,
Oh.
you're pretty much losing. You have no chance in Dallas.
Yeah.
Mentally, winning this game the way you want it today, you got a bye week, get healthy, get some things, get a week for Hawkins to just first team reps, retool the offense around what he likes, what he does better. You got to, and momentum, you got a shot. I mean, if we lost today, every podcast would be talking about who is Seth Luttrell getting. I mean, if we'd lost like 21-10 today, the calls would be for Seth Luttrell's job, right?
And I think that's a perfect segue. Guys, let's go ahead and get the ugly out, okay? As you guys know, what Chris Mason and I have been doing, hell, Jason and I have been doing. Again, like and subscribe on every channel, each channel, do all those different things. But as we've all three have done, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's talk about the ugly first. Jason, I'll let you go first. What was the ugly? Obviously, I guess you could say is the play calling, right? What are you talking about?
It's so. I want to see him actually have some confidence in these guys that he's got out there. If you're going to put this, you're putting a Lambo out there and wanting him to go 35. Let the guy go play. Let the guy go play. Let these kids go play. The receivers, if you and you was talking about this on his radio show yesterday. You got to go out there and let them go. There's nothing to hold back from. Just go, let them go. And so much of it seems like it's just so.
Yeah, you gotta retool, and you gotta find stuff. You gotta start putting stuff in the play.
Confidence and let them go play. And we're still seeing a lot of RPO stuff for not having to see RPO stuff apparently. And it didn't really work today either. I don't get what we're doing there. And the point with me though is I just don't want to continue seeing this offense that's stuck in neutral. And it's not because you can't go. I mean, you go out there and first play of the game, second play of the game, 50-yard touchdown run. Go let the guy go do his thing. Because as soon as you turn him loose, he's going to be fine. He hasn't put the ball in harm's way. Nope. I'd rather him get those penalties for intentional grounding than throw a freaking pick, or fumble it or anything. He's just not doing it. So I don't understand really what the issue is or what he's being so conservative for. If you're Seth Luttrell and Joe John, you better be coming up with the better offensive game plan than this and being – what do you got to lose at this point? Put your balls on the table, for God's sakes.
Yeah, your top 5 wide receivers are out right now. We're hopeful that Burks will return by Texas and possibly maybe Nick Anderson. I don't know, but regardless, I'm with you on that, Jason. You saw.
Have you heard anything to discount the ugly Nick rumors out there?
No, I haven't yet, but.
Oh,
okay.
But,
all right.
I have a hard time with that though.
All right.
Do you think so? What do you think? What do you hear? You're the guy. Come on now.
I don't like what I'm hearing, and until he shows up on the field, it's a prove it or the rumor gains more weight with me. If he doesn't play against Texas, then I'm buying in on that rumor.
I got you. But to Jason's point, I get what you're saying. I think that the J.J. Hester play is – there's two things that go to your point, right, that really, really support it. First off, that J.J. Hester play, they're loading the box, and they're waiting on you to run the ball. Hawkins – and this is a great segue to the next point that supports your main point. Hawkins is decisive. Right now, that is the biggest difference between Michael Hawkins and Jackson Arnold. Michael Hawkins is decisive. When that pocket collapses or whatever the case may be, he's climbing the pocket and he's figuring out, okay, I need to run. Okay, I can still probably make a good pass. I can make a pass down the field, whatever the case may be. What I wanted to see more of was that drive that everything was clicking until the penalties killed it, but you got some rollout plays. Also, I'll tell you this right here. not necessarily good in blocking, but Barrett Sharp looked damn good today as far in the receiving game. And so I feel like you got to give him a mixture. Yes, he needs to be able to run the offense from the pocket, but you got to get him rolling out, get him more rhythm throws, get him in better of a rhythm. I think that would help somebody like Petaway as well getting a rhythm, because that's your go-to guy on those plays. I thought Brennan Thompson played a really good game for what it was, but as you said, you kind of got to let the guy rip. You gave him the full offense or whatever the case may be, and he showed you, even with the guys, all the injuries and all the rest of that stuff, man, offensive line, that's another shout out I got to give. They weren't perfect, but I've seen worse from them, and they were good today, and they gave him time, and even when the pocket wasn't clean, he still was able to use his head and make plays down the field. But there was a comment up here, and Chris Mason, you could take this one too, but Stink Ass Cat said, give Latrell some time. I think he's had his hands full with having 50 different players each week. Those injuries have thrown a kink in every aspect of the game, but I agree, White Ass. So, and I agree with that up to a point. He still got to let his players go play, man, because going against Texas and now getting deeper into this SEC, it's not going to get any easier. And every game, especially the next few games, Texas, South Carolina with that defensive line, I mean, it's only going to get tighter. You got to give him chances to do what he does. There were a couple of drives that looked really good. I don't even think that the first drive was all Latrell. I think that was all Hawkins. But I will say he did help him early in the games establish himself, get a rhythm with some of those quick throws, and they were successful, and they were able to move the ball. Running game still wasn't great, but you were able to move the chains. That's all that you were trying to do. And
it's a jab. It's a jab at this point. It's not a home run. It's not a knockout punch, right? No. It's just you have to jab. We got lucky. Auburn missed a field goal. Huge about that. All in all, so with their kicker with the weird name, we gave him a second. We gave him a second shot at it. I got some highlights from playing in the background, but yeah, I mean, is the constant taxiing of people in and out during injuries and never knowing when folks are available, is that killing is that hurting the offense? Of course it is. The top five wide receivers being out, is that hurting the offense? Of course it is. Is the center situation, which seems to be finally getting stabilized, but prior to this, has that been hurting? Of course it is. But if you can continue, if you've got a bye week, get healthier, get some more players out there, get some idea of what Hawkins can do, and get him some more playing time, more reps as the number one option. He can make some plays. He'll get you where you need to go. I mean, guys, 27 points, and that's 20 offensive points, right? 20 offensive points. If you told me OU was going to score 20 offensive points today, I thought they were going to win. I would have said, okay, yeah, because I had this as like a 16-13 kind of rock fight. And our defense gave up a lot more than I thought they were going to give. So, we're just, it's, the touchdown to Barnes with the rub route and all that. And we just self-destructed. We were close to putting up more points. So it's tough. You settle for the field goal in the third quarter where you already had a touchdown. You'd have been tied. I mean, again, you asked for incremental improvement. We got it from an execution standpoint from our quarterback. No fumbles, no interceptions, right? Don't lose the game because our defense won't lose the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, Cam Coleman kind of goes off on us today, their five-star wide receiver.
He's a baller, man.
Yeah, he's a baller. I saw him, from the get-go. I was like, he's their best receiver. He's just young.
When we almost stopped them fourth and one, almost got a stop there. It's I mean, they got a pass interference call on us to get
Man.
even more chances.
It was the play. I mean, the refs today were, if we're to be SEC, I'm just gonna say it was ticky tack. It was ticky tack.
Yeah, but yeah, but you can't mentally. This team just could have phoned it in twice, right?
Yep.
On the road, could have mentally phoned this in, and it did not do that. And I think Hawkins by the end of the year, could be, could be really good. And the offense, the O-line made incremental improvements today, right? You can't say this was another terrible O-line effort. It wasn't.
Let me jump in here.
Turning loose, and he made 2 monster plays when you needed him to make them, which is what you want out of this kid. And I mean, he's not turning the ball over. Look, we can be bitchy about it if we want to. The bottom line is they're 4-1 going into the Texas game. You got 2 weeks to get ready. You got 2 weeks to get a little more healthy and get something going. I'm not worried about. And first of all, guys, relax about Nick. You're not hearing it from anybody that's dependable anyway, or I'm not anyway.
Okay.
Well, then say what is the rumor?
No, we'll talk about that in the grade scheme. Let's
freaking everybody out in here, Chris.
We'll leave that. Let me jump in here real quick. Let's see. Stacey Stegall said this was a great win.
Absolutely.
Auburn played a good game.
This is the best game they played.
Yeah. Almost the cleanest game that they played.
Best game, cleanest game, whatever you want to say. They were not looking. They've looked bad. They've just looked bad so far.
And let me correct this guy, Greg Williams. Thank you for coming in, but I will say he says, let's be honest, it doesn't feel like 4-1. Excuse my language. I don't necessarily cuss all the time on the pod. You're batshit crazy if you think that this game is not 4-1. You are batshit crazy because you beat Temple, you beat them decisively, you beat Houston. Was it pretty? No. You still went out there and won. You beat Tulane. You do it almost in the same damn fashion. You wouldn't put Tennessee down to the wire or beat
South
them
Florida
if you're
today
playing like this. Go ahead.
Yeah, you see what Tulane did to South Florida today too? That gave Alabama all they wanted. They beat the fucking brakes off of them.
Well, Texas isn't exactly going down on a blaze of glory against a team that they should not have this much trouble with. Mississippi State is a bad football team, and Texas only put that game to bed. What is it? 28-14? What was the final? Or are they still playing? I'm trying to check here. Why am I not seeing this score? 30. Okay, they scored a garbage touchdown. I mean, they scored a garbage touchdown to put this game away. I mean, 35-13. Texas should have won that game like 45-0. Mississippi State's not that good. So, we'll see. They're the best team we're going to play. I think they're better than Tennessee, but we'll get back to that. But 4-1 is 4-1, right? It is. And to go on this road game where everyone, Josh Pate, the JD Pickens or whatever his name is, I'm forgetting his name now. He's okay. But Josh Pate, Pate said we were losing today, right?
Yep.
And a lot of people picked us to lose, and Vegas picked us to lose. Everyone's been saying we're going to drop this game. So first starts, Troy Aikman as a freshman went to Kansas and somehow lost in '84 for those Sooner fans that don't have a long memory. Danny Bradley in '84 got hurt during the Texas game. Couldn't play for Kansas next week, and OU lost to Kansas because Aikman threw 2 picks and at least 1 pick six. I'm trying to remember because obviously those games weren't on TV. For those that don't, for our younger listeners, OU games aren't always on TV. So for those of you that have enjoyed that experience since Bob came back, that basically every game is on television. Back in the 80s, OU was only on TV like twice a year. Like Nebraska games would be sometimes on the radio. There's Nebraska, and that was probably about it. Like Satterfield remembers the dark days before OU was on TV every day of the week, every week. So, yeah, I mean, for Hawkins, this was a good building point, starting point. The future is bright. He should have screwed up today, right? On the road at Auburn, trailing twice where a play needed to be made. He should have tried to make something out of nothing, make a big play, force something, and make a mistake.
He hasn't done that yet.
He should have done that today at least twice.
When you're
down
you're
14-7, down 21-10, both times he had the ball on those drives, he should have forced something and made a mistake, and that would have been completely natural.
And we still haven't seen it. We still haven't seen it from him.
Let me jump in here. And this is what I had to say to Seth Luttrell. This is what I have to say, okay? At the very least, Seth, at the very least for this year, not saying going forward, at the very least, Hawkins can at least resemble what you had with Jason Bean at North Texas. At the very least.
Right.
That means you can run your offense and you can run him and you can run your offense, the true air raid. Go ahead.
I was just gonna
say his decisiveness and his ability, his burst coming out of there. That's one thing I would say that's a key difference between Jackson running with it and Hawkins running with it is that burst, that acceleration coming out of that hole, right? Or whenever he's moving the pocket. Regardless, he gives you an opportunity to really run a true air raid. And the fact of the matter is that at some point that defense is going to get a bit tired. We saw what was his name?
They beat a little today, right?
Bust one or two today that were all okay plays. But you're running hard, you're doing things, you're staying on schedule. That's all we're asking this freshman to do. But at very base level, you can have him be Jason Bean. If you don't remember Jason Bean, just go back to last year's game against Kansas.
Man, stop calling him Jason Bean, K. Chris. Stop calling him Jason Bean. What's wrong with you?
How KU might need Jason Bean.
Yeah,
because I like
Jason Bean. I like Jason Bean as much as the next guy, but he's not Hawk. Come on.
All right.
No, he's not. But at the same time, I'm saying we've seen Seth Luttrell do more with less. Now he has a Maserati, and that's even true. Some of the guys that he's out there, the Hester of the world would be starters at those other stops that he's been at. I mean, let's
not use Maserati as our example because we want something that's not in the shop.
Stay on the road.
Stay on the road. Yeah. We don't need. He's not a Ford. He's not found on the road dead. But But I'm watching a little highlights. I got to say back to you, the deep pass to Hester. That pass pro pocket is perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. We keep talking about that Arnold wasn't taking advantage of when the O-line gave him chances.
Yeah.
That's one of them, right? That's a perfect pocket. He threw a perfect deep ball to Hester, accurate, and that's what you need, right? We just need someone to take advantage of the opportunities. And that scramble play where that was a Kyler play, right? I mean, the first touchdown was a Kyler play, right?
Oh, bro.
I mean, it was like, wow, that's Kyler, that's Kyler juice, right?
Yeah.
And then, you've got our Mason Thomas just at the end of the game. Apparently he just has like a fourth quarter close the game out mode that no one else has. So, it's just crazy. And again, it's a small thing, but Schmidt hitting that last field goal, with time
huge.
on the clock.
Small. I don't think that's small because he couldn't hit to
good kick too. So
he couldn't hit a ball in the outs of the base middle last year. So it's good.
Guys, let's move this conversation along. So guys, look in the chat. We obviously, I think we're all on the same page, and it may be like piece by piece. We have issues with the play calling. Luttrell has to be better. And look, guys, we can't pick up some of those little ticky-tacky penalties, but I don't even want to talk about that. Play calling has to be better. You have to open up that.
We had 35 points in offense today.
Yeah.
Drive-wise.
Yeah.
We lost penalties on 2 drives. We settled for a field goal. There's points there. So.
All right, so we're gonna move on. Boomer 580, thank you for the comment because that moves us right. That segues us right into where I want to go to our defense. Let's kind of nitpick the defense just a tad bit. I don't necessarily know. Okay, he said DB, so I get that. to me, if you're going to have the pairing of Bowman and Kanai on one side, you have to give Kanai help. I'm sorry. Bowman can't overcommit. That just can't happen. I know that's our style. We want to be aggressive. We want to do that. That can't happen. They were picking on Des Malone, but I mean, it's easy whenever you're playing 5-10 yards off. I didn't necessarily understand that. I think even without Gentry and Woody playing over there mostly at corner, I think we're still good enough to press at times some of the wide receivers we're facing. The only other thing that I would probably nitpick was, and I don't even think it's a nitpick, I think everybody was screaming this. I don't necessarily like the 3-man front. I didn't like it today. I didn't like it at all today. I think last week you were really effective and you were causing a lot of problems.
It's a different scheme. It's a different scheme, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Auburn isn't running the same thing as what Tennessee's doing, right?
That's true. That's true.
I would have liked the 4-man line because they're a little more power run, to them. So, I mean, defensively, again, it's 4 or 5 plays, right?
Yeah.
A couple of them are huge plays. You got burned on the touchdown, the deep touchdown. You don't like that with Texas and Ewers or Arch and their wide receiver group and their O-line, giving them time to attack downfield. Again, stuffed the run. Didn't make the run really. Auburn had a couple of runs, really. Wasn't too much. But a road game environment. And again, in the fourth quarter, you shut it down. You did what you needed to do and made the plays that you needed to make. So, Auburn was never, they had a Hail Mary pass, obviously, but for the most part, which didn't even get anywhere near the end zone.
Yeah.
I think the last 2 games, teams are hitting some deep passes on us.
Yeah.
So I think you got to think a little bit about what's going on there because.
And I think it's just being a little bit too aggressive. I think it's being a little bit too aggressive. And then there was a couple of times where you're like, hey, Des, hey, Kanai, you guys are in great position to make plays on these jump balls, but you gotta see it through. You're a bit too busy holding. Like, I mean, you guys are kind of like just basically going back and forth, just holding each other. You got to at least put a hand up or something like that. Kind of got to react at that last minute. And I don't think they're doing that. Jason, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, same thing. I think that, and somebody said it in here, and I think that Woody is more and more kind of showing that he's not on the level of some of these guys. They got to keep him the hell away from the cheetah position for sure.
Yeah.
He's just not. He's not up to the task.
You can't let them run across.
I really like seeing Eli Bowen in there a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If we're gonna go small, then you need to go with Eli because he stays running with those guys, and he's a dog. He's gonna be right on top of you. Yeah, I mean, that's my thing. Is I think that probably a lot of it too is what you're talking about. They're being a little bit, that it seemed like they got a little. Probably going for a little plays that they probably shouldn't. They're losing, not being quite as disciplined as you want to see them be, particularly with their eye discipline and some of that stuff from the. Look, I don't know. I love it that Billy likes to deliver blows the way he does. Sometimes I'd like him to stop doing that and just make the tackle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just sometimes there was a couple of times today you saw him leading with that shoulder, trying to deliver a big hit. And I get it. We want to force fumbles. But they ended up getting another 6 or 7, 8 yards because he just missed.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to see some of these things where you just tighten up. I mean, you don't have to do anything crazy to shut people down. You don't have to do it. And the turnovers eventually come to you anyway. So you don't have to go out there and be ultra aggressive at times of the game when, it just seems like there was a little setback there. It's not something that I'm worried about, particularly with the way you saw them close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, Venables is going to be on their ass about it. It's something that they're going to have to work on. And this is the thing. If I'm worried about anything, it's kind of what they're doing offensively, because I don't know that I believe that they're going to figure it out as far as like just go for the throat for, but I know that BV will. And he's gonna be in the middle of that defense for every little mistake they've made. I do want to see that start happening on the other side of the ball as well. I do.
I think that no,
it was a
definitely
better showing offensively.
It was.
It was. You know, it's not. We're not all of a sudden just going to turn into a great offense. It's not happening this year, right?
It's just. But you said yourself, Chris, earlier. We haven't. There was twice that he could have very easily went out there and made stupid mistakes because he was going trying to get it all back on one play. He could have done that all last week too. He didn't, and he's put them in position to where they stay in games and have a chance to win them. That's you ought to be able to trust him at this point. Let him go. Let him go.
I think incrementally we'll see more and more. Like again, if the offensive line is finally getting healthier, Jake Taylor played today. Where we started the same center for the first time all year long, back-to-back games. They did shuffle Ozetta out for Sexton back at guard, which I don't love. But they're obviously playing around with that. So
let me jump back in here real quick, fellas. I want to get to this comment. Shout out to Trace Ford has been a man this year, but the Ds have to get pressure earlier, and the deep ball will not.
I was just about to answer that question to him in there too, because I love that one. Yeah, they got to be better. I think put Trace in earlier, for God's sakes. It's 2 weeks in a row we've seen this.
Yeah, and Trace is healthy. Trace is healthy, and Trace is playing. And I think regardless if he was at OSU, OU, or wherever he was at, when Trace is healthy, knows the playbook and is focused, there's not necessarily a better player on the field than Trace Ford.
Do you need to think about less downs?
Less Ethan? Is that what?
Yep.
I mean,
you don't get me and K Chris in trouble because we were wearing his ass out last year, and then he made his look
I
bad.
would like to see Downs. I would like to see him. The problem is that coming into the season, you thought that he would move inside for a bit, kind of like how they did with Lealu last year, but that it hasn't happened simply
because he's too light.
Well, not only because he's too well, I mean, hell, Lealu was kind of light last year as well, but I think that the play that you're getting from their interior with who is it? He's
got strength and no speed. That's the thing. Yeah. He ain't fast enough to be on the edges with these guys.
He's not twitchy enough to be out there on the edge. But I'm talking about for like some of your NASCAR packages, different things like that. Some of your third and longs or plays like this, with those Hail Marys and stuff like that, where you could put PJ, you could put R. Mason Thomas, Woolard. Woolard had a nice couple of plays. I mean, for what it's worth, Downs is definitely his IQ is up there right now. But
I mean he's playing well against the run. It's just
at
some point, do you need to if we go to a 4-down line look, do we need a little maybe see more of more of PJ to see if he can give you a little more burst, a little more attack off the edge. I mean it's we'll see what's happening. But yeah, I mean the secondary. I mean the secondary. A couple of the secondary bombs really were. It was coverage. I mean, you couldn't. I mean, it was. I mean, it was coverage. So
Grayson's been good too. Yeah, and you know who else flashed pretty well today for me was the new guy. From Miami of Ohio. Why am I forgetting his name?
Willard.
He had a couple of really good plays. He was in the backfield a lot. He just missed getting that sack,
Maybe more of Woolard than so. I will say all the depth on defense, and all the guys playing does make me encouraged that the defense isn't going to be just gassed in November.
No, and I would say this right here. Last year, if you go back to kind of the game plan against Texas last year, you saw a lot of guys. On that D line, and they all were really effective. And I think you'll see more of that. So I think you'll definitely see a good shuffle. It's just one of those things where we need to start fast on that. That pass rush needs to be there from the get-go. But you're definitely you're not going to complain about what you got to end that game. as far as what was going on. And you kind of beg to ask, like, where was that to, especially in the first half, because you had a couple of chances to go out there and punch them literally right there not in their face, in their throat, and make it very hard for them to breathe
Step on their neck and get it over with.
Yeah. We're just missing. We don't have enough offensive playmakers and consistency to do that right now. We just don't. We don't.
Here's the thing, that playing all these guys and getting them more touches, a guy like JJ Hester that's been around college football for long enough, he needed to get some confidence, catch a couple of balls. I think Hank was in here saying it earlier. Looky there, he caught a ball. Maybe now all of a sudden we get some confidence out of him.
Oh yeah, I mean, we've seen guys like
body
that.
guy that we need to step up. We've been saying these shrimp guys is not that helpful, right?
Well, all of the three of them being out there at the same time is not
correct.
And Sharp's looking. I mean, the blocking is obviously what it is, but Sharp at tight end, as receiving tight end, is a weapon, right? Mm-hmm. He's if he keeps this progression going, by the end of the year, he's going to be a real weapon at tight end. Which is. I mean, again, it's positive, right? Really, really, we can nitpick all of this. This is a win. They could have mentally folded tents up. We played badly on the road, right? Under Brent, right? We had 2 road losses that shouldn't have happened last year, right? Really.
Yeah.
And we didn't, and we went into a place that is more difficult. Is Auburn they're easily as good as Oklahoma State last year. Oklahoma State was not a good team last year. I'll die on that. I'll die on that hill. I'll die on that freaking hill. Oh yeah, I mean, that's the same freaking Oklahoma State team last year. They returned like freaking everyone, and they're not any good. So to me it's a big road win. Mm-hmm. Somehow you made it happen. Defense, offense, touchdown on offense, touchdown on defense, and then you rode the game out and won the game, controlled the rest of the game. I mean, there's lots of warts and there's lots of things that could be better.
Yeah.
But Ole Miss doesn't look, to just have a quick big picture view. Ole Miss will look vulnerable as hell today. Missouri, I don't think they're that good. I don't know what LSU will be by the time we play them. And we've got lots of improvement for us.
And right on schedule, Ole Miss gags.
I mean, just choked. It was a terrible game. And that's not a great.
They haven't played anybody with a pulse either. They're freaking UT number 2. And
that's not a great Kentucky team. I mean, Vandegrift is not a great quarterback, really. He's not. So that's a bad loss for Ole Miss. They
fight sometimes, and I can see how they could, because right now we have yet to see Carson Beck really turn it up yet. We haven't seen much out of their receivers as of yet.
Like Bama just went the length of the field like that.
I said, I
got it out in the background, so we're about to see what Carson Beck will do.
I said, fellas, let me jump in here. Like I said, fellas, before the season started, I kept saying that Jason definitely knows. Well, both of you guys know this. 3 games at a time. Got to take the schedule 3 games at a time. Yes. It's not as tough. It's tough on paper. It's not necessarily as tough. You saw a lot of different things and a lot of great.
There's a lot of brand names.
There's going to be a lot of great film out there for BV to exploit. If this offense can mature and progress, improve, etc., each week, this could help. But this is where I want to turn the conversation back to the offense, because I want to ask a question. So I'm gonna answer some of these real quick. Nick Bagnaro, he says, how many times are we going to run inside? And I understand that when we did run to the edges, those were successful plays.
Shocker.
Coconut Greg says, proud of the Sooner, came in clutch. He also had a comment on here. He said, our commitment to the inside run is maddening. So I agree with all of that. So my question for the panel is simply this right here. With what you saw from Hawkins today, you saw from him in the second half or whatnot, is he our quarterback going forward? I'm not going to say of the future or whatnot, but is he our quarterback going forward?
Unless he gets injured.
And why?
Quarterback going forward. Because of the fact that he doesn't turn the ball over and he gives you an opportunity to make big plays, explosive plays, which is what you got to have. They're last in the SEC in explosive plays coming into this week. Last.
For a freshman who was not supposed to be the starter, going on the road with his poise and his composure,
he's the guy.
That's one thing. And then as Jason just said, he is a big play waiting to happen. And it could be off schedule. You know, he is a big play waiting to happen. And you know, and the team just seems to have some confidence around him as well. So maybe I'm interpreting what I want to see there, but it seems that way to me. So I think
Chris ought to know this though. I said this last year. You get this guy on the field, he ain't coming off.
Well, I mean, again, we'll see what Texas looks like.
He doesn't get hurt is the main.
Yeah. He's got a week to be in the lab where they should be fine tuning the offensive game plan for him, right?
Yeah. That's great. This is great.
Seth Roof. Oh, that's cold, man.
That's cold, Sooners legend. That is cold, man.
The parking lot, bro. He got out of his car and shot that jumper.
He doesn't look like the guy from Team America World Police. So Spotswood. So you can't be putting the Ted Roof thing on Seth.
No, I think for now you got to sit Jackson, and I think that's your number 2 right now, at least for that game. Maybe going forward was Casey. I mean, I don't necessarily know what Jackson is going to do, but we got to let this thing play out. But yeah,
I think it's killing me, Sefferth. I'm gonna have to steal that. Yeah, I mean, it's again. Like I said, I thought we would be having a much different podcast around middle of the third quarter today. You got to give the guys credit for doing that on the road. We have not won big games on the road under Brent. We just haven't.
No doubt. Well, hey, listen, they haven't won a road game that mattered in since 2017, 18, 19, something like that. I think is what it was.
That mattered.
Or maybe a ranked road win.
Yeah,
I guess a ranked road win was
ranked. I mean, a good.
And we still haven't done that. We still haven't done that. But listen, I think that you have to get your first SEC road win before you get your first SEC road win. It doesn't really matter. I think.
It's just the first step.
I think you said. I don't know that I wholeheartedly agree with what you were saying going into because Red River's Red River, but I do agree that until you get that first SEC win, that confidence was gonna waver, and to me, I think maybe this builds that confidence. Look, there's a long way to go, and I think Chris said it right just a second ago. Okay, Chris, let's go 3 at a time, man. Let's load this up 3 at a time. Yeah. See what we can do. If we can win 1 out of the next 3, and then 1 out of the next, or 2 out of the next 3, and then 2 out of the next 3, you're still in contention for the playoffs.
Well, to me, it was a huge win. You're 4-1 going into Texas. And the big thing about the win is if we'd lost, this is 10 days of fan rumination.
Oh, yeah.
And it would have been just freaking awful.
Brutal.
I mean, just yeah.
I was fixing to turn off everything.
Doom podcast after podcast. Every SEC talking head about how we're not ready for the SEC and all that nonsense. Guys, we went into Auburn and beat Auburn. You keep telling everyone don't backtrack now and say this is a terrible Auburn team, because it was a terrible Auburn team last year and they should have beaten Georgia and Alabama in Auburn, right? That terrible Auburn team should have beaten Georgia and Alabama last year.
Let me say this real quick because I want to ask the chat a question. Do you still believe in Sooner Magic? Because it seems to me that a little bit of that was sprinkled out there on the field today, right? A little bit of that was sprinkled out there on the field today, fellas. When we doubt these boys
the voodoo went against them.
Yeah, when we doubt these boys the most, that's when that Sooner Magic is. Hey, and I'm sorry, Sooner Magic is a real thing. It's a real thing. And when it's alive and well, But it's alive and well because let me tell you something. It took a lot of Sooner Magic to get us to the playoffs when we had those defenses with Riley. But I'm telling you, when that Sooner Magic is alive and well, it gets special around here.
So we're officially saying Sooner Magic on this game, right? Is that our I can't believe you called us a panel, Chris, but that's all right. Makes me feel like they should be on a much more serious show. But anyway.
Well, there's never going to be that happening.
Yeah. So if you're saying this is Sooner Magic, I'm totally down with that, right? The back-to-back touchdowns, flipping the game completely, totally with you. But when was the last time we saw Sooner Magic? The Texas drive last year?
Yeah. That was.
Everything else that went against them. The Sooner Magic just forgot to show on the other games.
Yep. So we had a little. So Brent has the shaker, right? Somewhere he's got the Sooner Magic shaker that he can just pull out and,
he had a big ass shit-eating grin after the game. He didn't even know what to say.
Well, I mean, again,
like, I don't know.
I mean, again, if we had lost this game 21-10, it would be. It'd be a galactic meltdown, right?
I was screaming at the TV. I was so frustrated. But when we got that pick, I was screaming. I was like, "Go!"
Me too, man.
Go!
Someone needed to turn around and pick up Cam Coleman. He nearly stopped Kip from getting in.
Yeah.
Like Downs and a couple other guys are just standing around.
Cam
Like,
Coleman
turn around and block him.
That dude is a baller, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
true freshman. Damn.
Yeah. Well, he's a 5-star.
When they got the sack as well. When R. Mason Thomas got the sack, when RSJ got the sack, I was like, God, dog, man. I was like, boy, it just when it rains, it pours, y'all. When it rains, it pours.
So I need to jump up and get a late dinner here in Atlanta. Last comment is Robert Spears Jennings our Thorpe candidate, not Bowman.
Numbers wise, you could say that, man. You could say that.
So what is he again?
Sorry, is Robert Spears Jennings not Billy Bowman?
The Thorpe candidate.
Our real Thorpe candidate.
Yeah, I think that Billy hasn't played great. There's been.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say he hasn't played great.
I don't think
he's played characteristic. They play aggressive. You know, there's going to be at least 1 or 2 times where you're like, "Hey, they're playing really aggressive."
He's missing too many damn tackles though on assignments.
All right, so I kicked over a hornet's nest with that comment. I'm out. Thanks, guys. It was great.
Fact.
So, Chris, are we going to do a better recap tomorrow, or do you want to do one like on Monday or something? Because it's a bye week.
Oh, I'll definitely text you. I'll definitely text you, Jason. What about you? We'll work it out. We'll get in the chat and we'll talk about it.
All right, great, man. Thanks, guys.
See you. Jason, I'm gonna stay on here for a little bit longer.
You gonna bust my chops about what I just said, or what?
Look, I think
turnovers. The turnovers.
He's been. I mean, Billy is Billy, man. I'm not ever gonna be mad at Billy.
Man, you know I love Billy. I'm not even saying. I'm just saying, if we're talking about a Thorpe guy, it's got to be RSJ instead.
No, I mean it would be RSJ. He has the numbers to really back it up. But I mean, Billy is Billy. We all know that at some point. I look at Jackson Dart every time. I look at a lot of these people. I'm like there's never a time where I feel like, okay, yeah, that's gonna consistently happen where we're playing like that. I just truly feel like Billy's always around the ball. He's a ball hawk, man. He's gonna take chances. You play risk. It's high risk, high reward, man. So I'm not necessarily
shout out to Nelio and K-State putting it on that ass today.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
Lord.
they put it on at 28 unanswered, just broke it off in mediocre Mike. Woof.
What is if you know, you know, he passed the test. No did he? What's up with Ollie Gordon, man, this year? You know, we see him talk a lot of stuff. Hey, real quick. Richard Shear had a comment. I think I'm gonna start this thing, Jason, where we have like the most underrated comment of the show, and we show that some love. Richard Cheer, he said, as a Mizzou fan in the SEC, every road win is valuable. Trust me, it is hard to win on the road in the SEC.
He's right. He's right. Hey, listen, I'm not going to tell you that I was on High Top this morning and I was having a hard time and I told Legend before the game, I was like, man, I'm freaking nervous as shit right now because I just want them to go get this win. I had good feelings, but they weren't all good feelings. We just haven't seen enough of it this year. And you just know that, like, here's the thing. When you've got a guy like Coleman and you've got a coach like Hugh Freeze, you know they can dial some shit up at any point. And you keep hearing all they've wanted to, hey, man, I want to get Brinsky's ass on this show and Ty to tell them, tell us about the curse now. You know, that's a Bama problem. That's a Georgia problem. No, but I get it. Look, there's some weird shit that goes on there, but you just knew that it was going to have to be down to the wire. I kind of hoped whenever he ran that 50-yarder right off the bat that, okay, well, maybe not, but no. But it wasn't. I expected it this morning when I got up. That is an underrated statement. 100%.
And this is another underrated comment right here. Sooner Magic trumps the Jordan Hare voodoo. So you definitely gotta love that. 14-0 Alabama. They're running away right now. Man, look, at the end of the day, people, man, it was a great game. It was a great game by both teams. You came back. You did exactly what you needed to do. And you've seen, regardless of the injuries, losing Dolby was big, but you still feel really good. Dolby, you're not Dolby, excuse me.
Samuel to run Georgia out the damn stadium.
You're seeing the progression of the defense. You're seeing the development. You're seeing the improvement, not only on the defensive side, but on the offensive side in different spurts and different players. You see some of the development, people. You got to trust and believe BV is going to get this team where they need to go, right? Everything for us is still on the table. 9-3, 10-2, whatever you want to talk about. If this offense can get some life, if you can get Burks back, if you can get Anderson back, hell, if you can get Andrell Anthony back, if you can get some of these guys back. But at the end of the day, one thing that one of my uncles would always tell us, hell, both of my uncles, when I was playing basketball and all the rest of that stuff, around January or around the mid part of the season, that's basketball terms, but around the mid part of the season, you got to circle that wagon. And if that includes some freshmen, you got to know when you're getting off that bus, you got your brothers with you. You got to circle that wagon. And if that means that you got some freshmen with you, then it also means that those freshmen need to make sure that they grow up by the mid part of the season to where you call them sophomores now. That's and these freshmen, Kearney, Carry-On, a lot of these guys, Tatum and all the rest of that stuff, just like they're going to be better going forward. And Hawkins now is in the mix. So can you imagine if we can keep this going? We going to beat Texas, which I believe we will do. We going to beat Texas.
You already know.
South Carolina, people. The juice is going to be going in Norman. I'm telling you.
The brand has finally returned. Your brand.
Exactly. I'm just telling you, people, there's still a lot to be excited about, and it can't be any worse than what we've seen. And it looks like it's getting better in increments, right? So,
and we've been saying that too, okay, Chris. We've been saying it every week. You and I both said from week to week, look, we got to get a little better on offense each week. It's not something that, you know what, Chris Mason just said it himself. You can't expect them to come out and with a bunch of kids, expect them to just turn into the Lamborghini. You know what I mean? You just can't expect it. What you can expect is for them to get a little better each week. And and I'm telling you, it's the most underrated thing we've talked about, and I think we're still not talking about it enough, is this kid doesn't put the ball in harm's way.
Yeah.
Not only is he a big play waiting to happen, he's not a turnover waiting to happen. That is so underrated for a freshman, a true freshman that comes in and just doesn't look like he's going to get rid of the football to the wrong side. It doesn't even look like it's crossed his mind to make those stupid plays. It just doesn't. And I don't care about the penalties. You can get an intentional grounding. Just don't give him a pick.
Don't give him a pick. Hank says establish the offensive identity and keep it getting sharper. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Let's see.
Kimberly K said, I stick the landing like Simone Biles every time with the brand. I like it.
Michael Hawkins, Thunder OU Sooner says Michael Hawkins has that swagger that Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Hurts had when they were quarterbacking for OU. I mean, it could feel like that. He goes out there and beats Texas. People gonna be talking about him. People gonna be talking about him
when he goes out there and beats Texas.
When he goes out there and beats
Texas.
And for the people and for the naysayers, the doubters, and the hoes in the back, I will say, 2 weeks for BV to pick you apart, and with Zach Alley especially now.
We heard it all last year how they were going to beat the shit out of us on both sides of the line.
We heard about it.
And it didn't happen on either side.
And baby, I'm letting you know, we limping in, but it's gonna be different. It's definitely gonna be different, man. It's gonna be different. I can't wait to get to those conversations. People will probably just talk basically OU the entire week. Maybe do a little bit of Texas talk and all the rest of that stuff, but those Texas podcasts, you already know, we're gonna go behind enemy lines and talk and do all the rest that we need to do. It's going to be pretty fun, guys.
Nino was on your bumper the other day talking that smack. I was trying to back you up in there, bro.
All I was telling him was like, hey man, players got to play. We're in the NIL era. People are transferring like crazy. You got to play these guys. You can't sit there and sit the kid for 3 years and think that's just going to happen everywhere. It's not happening at all places. Nope. People are getting rid of kids. The coaches used to just get rid of kids and recruit over kids. Now kids are just leaving. So it's a different era, man. But yeah. But overall, man, we've been on here for an hour now. We'll probably be back tomorrow or Monday or whatever the case may be. But Jason, go ahead, man. Just give us your final thoughts about today, man.
I'll just say it again. It was a big win. You had to get the first one before you could get any more. You know, you had to do that. And so to come back from and listen, man, that's a gut punch what you went through last week. First one at home, going up against. Listen, man, we love Josh. We all love Josh. But that's tough to lose a game at home against a team like Tennessee. And I mean, no shot on Tennessee because they're good. They're a good football team. Facts is you should have won the game. And if Michael Hawkins plays the whole game, they probably do win it. So no matter what, though, you can't allow that to like I used to tell my son this when he's golf tournaments. You can't have one bogey turn into 3.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't have it. You just cannot have it. You've got to figure it out. Go one game. I love what you were talking about a few minutes ago, talking about taking this thing in 3-game segments and starting one at a time. You got to play each week. But the fact is, we keep hearing about every game is a tough game. No game, they're all hard, no matter what, especially on the road. So don't give me shit and tell me that the win doesn't matter because Auburn sucks. I don't want to hear that shit because I've heard over and over and over how Oklahoma's going to go 6-6. Stop it. But you had to get the one. And we know we're going to get another one in 2 weeks. That's just kind of how it goes. I mean, look, I've been telling you that Missouri, I don't believe in them. I certainly didn't believe in Ole Miss either. And look, just on cue, they gag. I mean, you saw it coming. LSU has not looked great. Alabama, still the thing. They're still the real deal.
They just got to pick, and they're inside the 20.
They're about to go up 21.
Yeah, this
Kirby losing grip.
This is not going to be grip. This is not going to be good. But no, I guess if I'm giving my final thoughts, man, big win on the road, coming back. You're limping in there. You're down a crap ton of guys. You did get a bit healthy on the offensive line. You had some more continuity. For the most part, you saw things that you wanted to see, at least just in decision making and somewhat of in the aspect of execution. But
Right.
Proud of the guys, man. Proud of this team. They fought, they clawed back. They made some really, really gutsy plays down the stretch. Michael Hawkins. Shout out to Kip Lewis. Shout out to Kobe McKenzie. Shout out to that entire linebacking room that has been
Sammy O looked really good today too, man. He's stepping in there for Kendall Dobie and doing his thing. I love Samuel Omosigo. That look, you're right. The defense is doing his thing. We want to see them be a little better, but they're going to get better from week to week. But I think that depth wise, you can't ask for more than what you have with this defense right here. And when you start seeing guys like Caden Woolard and Trace Ford, you ain't wrong. When that dude is healthy, good luck. There's a reason why Oklahoma State's pissed that he left. Because they know what he was. They knew what he was. And guess who else did? Caleb Williams knew who the hell he was.
Yeah. I like I said, man, I had nothing bad to say about the defense. I have nothing to say bad about the team. Yeah, we limped in here. Yeah, we limped out, but we got the win, and that's all that matters. Like I told you guys at the top of the podcast when we started, three biggest things to me were we win, we stay healthy, and we get to the bye week. We accomplished all three of those. Let me let you guys in on a little bit. Now, I'm not trying to say I played some big D1 school. I played JUCO for 2 years, and that was it. But I will say, as a former college athlete, and I think I can speak for a lot of college athletes out there, there is nothing sweeter than winning and going into a bye week. You know that you got some hard ass practices coming up, but you also know you're going to go to the bye week. You can get home tonight, go out, do whatever you want to do. You're going to be able to go home for the weekend. This next weekend, you'll be able to go home, see your family, kind of get your juices going back. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to be able to really get your vibes and all the rest of that stuff up, and then you come back to work and you feel really good about yourself. There's nothing better. It's one of the top 5 feelings as like a college athlete, just being able to go into that bye week. And as a fan on the other side,
it's gonna be 2 weeks worth of shit. If not, man,
as a fan, we can listen, we can watch everything, because now there's nothing too bad that you can say about our team that we don't already know. We know that we need to fix the offensive woes. We know that the play calling needs to be better. We know we need to be consistent. We know that we need to play 60 minutes of complimentary football. We know all that stuff. It takes time, people, and it's just taking us a little bit more time. But like I said, at a high level, very, very, very proud. Great win. And like we said to start this show, big-time players make big-time plays, and that's what you saw. That City Magic is alive, people.
Shout out to Santonio.
Shout out, man. Let's see. Neilio said, where did you play JUCO ball in Jayhawk Conference? Actually, I guess you could say kind of, sort of, because I played at Tuckawaw. So I played at Northern Oklahoma College, man. I redshirted my first year, and the second year I was going to play, I hurt my knee, man. My knee. But we was out there, man. We did our thing a little bit. We did all that stuff like that. So, nothing modest. Don't ever brag about it, but hey, I played college ball, so I guess something. But regardless,
better than most people do, bro. That's better than most people do.
I got that school paid for. That's all I do. But yeah, people, man. Excited about it. We'll be back. We'll be back very soon. Let's go ahead and end the stream now.